The federal government today unveiled a new strategy with the aim of assisting households and businesses to take up new technology as the national broadband network is rolled out. Well over $60 million has been set aside to set up digital hubs in 40 communities to provide training and assistance. There'll also be online education programs, and in Queensland there'll be trials providing medical support via broadband to remote communities. To discuss the strategy, we're joined now by Communications and Broadband Minister Stephen Conroy. Stephen Conroy, welcome to the program.
Good to be with you, Ali.
As we just said, you've launched a bit of a sales pitch today with money to teach people about the NBN. That $24 million, for example, over 4 years for digital hubs in 40 communities. How soon will 40 communities have access to the NBN? Because right now you're talking 3 in Tasmania and 1 on the mainland.
Well, construction in Tasmania on our second release sites, and the 7 of those will be commencing within a very short period of time. So we have 7 more coming there. We have 19 more targeted on mainland Australia. So it won't take long over the next year or two for us to start to build towards that 40. And what's important about the strategy we announced today is the vision that the Gillard government have for making Australia a world-leading digital economy by 2020. I mean, this is about improving Australia's competitiveness. It's about improving Australia's health and education services, and it's about improving our national capacity to deal with the rest of the world and improve our export opportunities.
So it's highly likely, though, that you'll have to spend a lot more money in terms of these sorts of educational programs if it's not going to be finished till 2020, and you've only announced today money that rolls out over the next 3 to 4 years.
Well, that's right. We anticipate that we have a few other initiatives to announce yet, and we also will look at more funding down the track. As the NBN grows and spreads across Australia, as that footprint grows right around the country, I'm sure there will be a need for more education and more training to ensure small businesses, not-for-profits, one of the things in today's announcements, have the skills and the understanding, and they're going to need training, and there's training packages coming out of this. All of those sorts of educational initiatives so that people can take advantage of the capacity of the national broadband network.
Well, in terms of the growing footprint, the NBN Co recently suspended the rollout of tenders, saying all the bids lodged by the 14 shortlisted construction firms were too high. Has that delayed the process?
We're probably running a few months behind due to a combination of the negotiations with Telstra not quite being finalised yet, and also the contractor issue. But on the contractor issue, I believe there's an announcement very imminent from NBN on that.
So they've found a contractor who will meet the budget, or has the budget been blown?
Oh, look, I think NBN should speak for themselves, but I believe there'll be a very constructive and positive announcement imminently.
This, of course, though, is government money, taxpayer money that funds the NBN. Surely you would have an interest in knowing whether or not the budget's blown out, because if you've got a situation where all 14 contractors, potential contractors, couldn't meet the prescribed budget, then one would suggest you might have a problem.
Well, we would expect NBN Co to meet their budget. We would expect them to meet the costs they set out last December. Out there in the business case, fully transparent and public. People can have a look at it, but we expect them, and they're assuring us they'll meet their budget. But I'll let NBN speak for itself when it makes that imminent announcement.
But as you said, they've assured you they will meet their budget. If they didn't, if there was a budget blowout, what choice would the government have but to fund it? You're committed to this project, aren't you?
We're very committed, but we're also committed to ensuring, and I think NBN, when they suspended that tender process with the contractors, I think they demonstrated that they're committed to meeting the business plan, and they're committed to ensuring that taxpayers get value for their money. So I think they should be applauded for what they did, and I think that their imminent announcement will answer a lot of these questions.
As you said, the deal with Telstra is taking a lot longer than people expected. How close is it now to being finalised? Look,
I would be hopeful that there'll be swift progress over the next few weeks.
You've said that many times over many months.
No, I accept that, but as soon as you involve lawyers on both sides, things tend to go a little bit in different directions. But the fundamentals have been in place for quite some time. I think Telstra have indicated they would hope that they're putting their vote late this year, and I think from what I'm hearing on the sidelines that target can be met.
Well, of course, key to that is the ACCC. How close are you to giving directions to the ACCC on how to deal with Telstra? Because it's fair to say that the competitors are very concerned about the next 10 years before the NBN is up and running.
Well, I said recently when I was announcing our policy on anti-siphoning that my objective was to make sure everybody was equally unhappy, and I succeeded then. I suspect I'm going to succeed tomorrow. From the feedback that we've been getting at this stage, both sides in this argument are not happy with the draft guidelines that we're issuing tomorrow from the early feedback. But I look forward to hearing more from them when they see them fully tomorrow. But the guidelines should be out tomorrow. And
those guidelines, will they include very tough penalty clauses for any cancellation? Will that be a way of preventing the opportunity for any future government of pulling the pin on the NBN?
These are the guidelines of the ACCC about the ongoing structural functional separation within the marketplace. They're not part of the contractual negotiations between NBN Co and Telstra. So my guidelines tomorrow are guidelines for the ACCC, not for the conduct of the negotiations between the NBN and Telstra.
And will there be tough penalty clauses in those negotiations, in those contract negotiations?
Well, look, there isn't a final contract at this stage, so it would be unwise for me to speculate on what's contained in that contract. It will be out there, hopefully, very shortly, and we'll be able to all make our judgments on those issues.
Senator Stephen Conroy, many thanks for joining us.
Good to be with you, Ali.